Hey, so I'm in the process of trying to bring uh, a case before the International Criminal Court. So I thought I would kind of document this process and how it's been going so far. Uh, so I'm going to read some correspondence, and then we'll maybe take things from there. Hello, my name is Thomas. I live in the nation of Canada. And for the past 10 years, I've been subjected to illegal detention and torture by the Canadian government. Under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, we are supposedly guaranteed the rights to the freedom of thought, religion, and expression. My experiences within the Canadian state have demonstrated that is not at all the case. I was raised in a religious creed that's different from most other people's belief system. In theory, all Canadians have the right to practice their religion. Religious philosophies are designed to promote a set of experiences within the self that supposedly equate to personal growth or enlightenment. A free society is one that allows people to explore these existential philosophies without interference. The insidious manner in which these rights and freedoms, which are designed to liberate consciousness, are arbitrarily revoked in Canadian society is quite frightening. Psychiatry is a means of social control, and with the arbitrary strokes of a pen, my religious and esoteric views were labeled as a mental illness. Documents and psychiatric records recovered illustrate the perspectives of the doctors involved in my torture. I would be in the middle of having what I would self-identify as a spiritual or prophetic experience. I would write about it and share. Some people do not like the things that I was saying, which is fine, live and let live. But then I would be detained by the police, sometimes violently, and brought in restraints before a psychiatrist. I would object to the circumstances, and I would object to being treated or diagnosed. In turn, the psychiatrist would suggest that is a sign that I was really sick and would then order me to be restrained, injected, and committed. According to their notes, the less I spoke about my religious or esoteric views, to them, that was a sign that my condition was improving. But this really begs the question, what about my right to religious freedom and the right to express those opinions and ideas? I know for a fact that there are thousands of Canadians receiving psychiatric treatment against their will, many of them having their own spiritual experiences, which psychiatry arbitrarily labels as insanity. We are subjected to forced drugging and incarceration. All of this is done under the guise of, this is for your own good. Our rights to reject the medication and arbitrary detention are consistently ignored. These are crimes against humanity, being perpetuated in a supposed upstanding country. However, when it comes to individual freedoms and human rights, it's fair to say that Canada is a Potemkin village. My hope is that the International Criminal Court will recognize how far the Canadian legal system has slipped into disrepute, and that my case and others like it will become an opportunity for Canadian society to change towards a more positive way of life for all Canadians. As I have been subjected to over 12 mental health arrests, I no longer feel safe within the Canadian state. A mental health arrest is where an individual is detained without charge or accusation and summarily brought before a psychiatrist who arbitrarily orders one's incarceration. I'm currently in hiding, but would like to formally request safe passage to the ICC to attend to this matter. I brought this matter to the ombudsmans of both Alberta and Ontario, as well as the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal. All have ignored the matter, and it appears that only the International Criminal Court is in a position to correct the failing Canadian legal system on the basics of human rights. I thank you for your time and consideration and ask for any guidance or directions Council may have to expedite or resolve this matter. Thankfully, this guy right here. So that was like the first letter that I sent. And I was really excited because I got a response from the ICC uh, like 2 days later, which was really, really cool. I mean, it was an automated response, uh, which was understandable. You know, they want to make sure that people that are, you know, filing claims at the ICC understand the gravity and weight of the situation. And I mean, for me, I'm excited. I'm excited at the potential of putting the very government that spent 10 years torturing me, and more importantly, the individuals involved in that torture, like police, doctors, lawyers, and psychiatric nurses, uh, to put those people on trial in an international framework. Uh, so, you know, I got an automated response, and you know, they said, you know, in the response, it was, you know, if you still feel after, you know, reading this stuff that we sent you, if you still feel that this is a thing, send us another response, and then we'll look into it. So this was my response to the automated response now. Hello, sir/madam. I appreciate the automated response. My name is Thomas, as I said before, and I live in Canada. You'll have to excuse me if I'm a little cheeky. My sense of humor is the only thing that's kept me alive this long. True story. And I would like to report a crime against humanity as per the UN Committee on Torture and the Practice of Forced or Coerced Psychiatric Drugging and Incarceration. For over a decade, I have endured and suffered under psychiatric oppression where my rights are consistently violated. I am one of many ongoing cases of people being tortured within Canada for thinking differently than others. I have been arbitrarily detained and subsequently tortured on numerous occasions for speaking about my political, religious, and esoteric views. In my opinion, this is a violation of my human rights, and under the UN, this is a violation of my human rights under the UN Declaration of Human Rights, a violation of my rights under the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and is therefore a crime against humanity. The matter falls well within the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court as per Canada's authorization of the Rome Statute in 2000. If an investigation into Canada's mental health system were to be conducted, the court would find the system in and of itself to be an ongoing crime against humanity. Forced drugging, forced ECT, forced incarceration where no law has been broken, cases of patient abuse, etc. One looks at the effects of these drugs that are being forced into people and their affects on patient health. It's not an exaggeration to describe this as a genocide in slow motion. As I said previously, I've taken this case as far as it can go in Canada, and the magistrate is exercising willful blindness on the matter. Having someone incarcerated in a state-run psychiatric institution for being politically active and for expressing their philosophical viewpoints is a crime against humanity. I'm not the only person this happens to. I know of many, and some that have even died in these facilities, like Ashley Smith. As I'm sure you're aware, the current geopolitical climate is getting closer and closer to that of all-out war. So I'm aware this psychiatric abuse case may fall low on the list of priorities to the prosecutor's office. However, I believe that a close examination of my case and others like it will begin to paint a more sinister picture of life in North America than I think the rest of the world is really aware of. The psychiatric institutions of North America today are akin to the gulags of the Soviet Union. The people that I meet on the inside of these places are artists, musicians, spiritualists, activists, free thinkers, basically the people that don't fit into the corporate model. What makes my case so compelling is the fact that I still have the wherewithal to explain the complex tortures I have endured and have the ability to express this hardship eloquently and with dignity. I hope that this matter is taken seriously by the prosecutor's office and that no conflict of interest will arise with the deputy prosecutor, who, as I understand it, is also from Canada. Looking forward to hearing from a real person soon. Sincerely, again, this guy. And then this morning, I got another response from the ICC, which was encouraging. Um, Another kind of automated response again, but it was clarifying that, okay, we've received this information. This doesn't necessarily mean that we've started an investigation, but we're going to start looking into it. And so that's great, because that means right now, at this very instant, as of whatever day it is in early September 2016, that someone in the prosecutor's office at the ICC is aware that psychiatric abuse may or may not be taking place within Canada, which is great. Which is why I think this is the perfect time for any other survivors that feel, of course, that they have been, that they have had these crimes perpetrated against them. Now it's an excellent time to make a statement with the court yourself, and start to advocate for your rights. And I honestly think the more people that have had these experiences, that feel violated by the system and want the system to change, this seems to be a very strong way to do that. So I'm going to leave a link just for the email address to the ICC. And if you feel that you've been tortured by the Canadian mental health system, as I feel that I've been tortured by the Canadian mental health system, you should get the ICC involved, because I think the sheer numbers of people that are involved in these cases, like in my case, there's at least 50 names attached to my oppression. And I think it's a beautiful kind of watershed moment that I really want to see happen. Martin Luther King said it like this. He said that peace is not just the absence of tension, but the presence of justice. And for any other survivor that, feels that, like, mother, the sting of the injustice of how we're treated, now now we can beat them. The more people that we have rising up and sharing their stories, and trying to get justice for themselves through the court system, the better off our society will be in the long run. So that's my hope and prayer. Good luck to you all, and bye for now.